Hi everybody, how you all doing? Here with Eric and Matt at the Allard Center YMCA. We're just gonna kind of give you some cues and break down the traditional squat, so kind of the basic squat or back rack squat as well. We're gonna focus on kind of body weight at first and just make sure everybody knows how to do a proper squat with the movements and the cues that a coach or a trainer might give out. So Matt here will be my dummy to do the squat, and I'll be here to kind of help correct him and give out those cues that somebody might give you during a class or during a session. So for now, we're going to kind of start with the more basic squat using a chair, and then we'll move on to the real squat with body weight, and we'll get the chair out of the way. So Matt, if you want to get into a stance of a squat, that might look good for you. If you want to turn, so you can have the back to the chair, thank you. So typically most people stand with their legs inside of their hips. But for the squat, we're gonna want just a little bit of a wider stance right outside the hips. So that's looking not too bad for you, that's right outside the hips. One cue I always give people is try to keep the feet facing forward. If your hips feel kind of super tight, people like to often go into a sumo stance, opening up the toes. When you open up the toes, your hips are automatically gonna open up a little bit. So we're gonna try to fight against that. We're gonna let our muscles open up our hips and not our angle of our feet and our toes. So Matt's looking pretty good here with his toes facing forward. So I'm gonna come onto this side here. So we're gonna try to fight for a nice flat back throughout the squat. What the motion of the squat is we're gonna draw our hips backwards, but at the same time, dropping them down so he can just tap the chair to then push through the feet back up to his tall stance. So Matt, if you want to give me a form of a squat, draw those hips back and at the same time almost drawing them down a little bit, small tap and then right back up. Beautiful. You can see how he kept his back straight. I can almost see his shoulder blades are a little bit tight, which is good. It's making it so he's not going to round forward. If you want to give me another one, Matt. Beautiful. And then right back up. Awesome. The chair makes it just so he's just above 90 degrees in his bend. Once we get into the little bit of the harder version without the chair, he's going to try to shoot for just about 90 degrees in his knees. But let's get one more, Matt. Beautiful, and back up. All right, so that was the version with the chair. Next, we're going to go into just body weight form. Often what is mostly done in most of the Group X classes is just with your body itself. So same thing, feet nice and planted just outside the hips. His toes are facing forward, so that way his muscles open up his knees, and he's not letting his ankles or his feet open up his knees and his hips. So let's try to go right back into that squat, Matt. Nice, and then right back up. Good, and as you can see, he shot for almost 90 degrees in those knees. As he's going back down, you want to give me another one? Which is looking good. He's drawing the hips back, and then he's going to push right through his feet to get back up to tall, which is awesome. Pushing through the heels or pushing through the feet helps to keep them balanced, but also puts all that force going up through the squat. Once again, Matt. Looking solid. It's okay if the toes come up a little bit. We want to draw that weight behind us, so it almost feels like you want to pick up the toes. Still fight to keep the feet down, almost feel like they're concreted to the ground, but that is okay. We just want to fight against it. Give me another one, Matt. Beautiful, and right back up. So, oftentimes if people round forward, Matt, do you want to give me an improper squat with the rounded forward? As you can see that curve of the shoulder going down. I often use a little cheat sheet as we go so you can push back up and back up to the tall. We often want a nice flat back, just like we want flat legs going through it, nice straight line. So I like to use a pole or a stick in this instance. That way we know we have 3 points of contact. His head's touching, his shoulders are touching, and right above his hips are touching. So if you want to go right back into that squat again, as you can see, we still have the 3 points of contact. If you move your hips or your shoulders forward, we lose this, and as you can see, he's rounding out, but the stick lets me know that he is nice and straight, and the same thing, push right on through and back up to that tall. Beautiful. Let's get that one more just so people can see that nice flatness on the stick, and then right back up to the feet to that tall. This is just a nice cheat sheet for anybody who feels like they're not doing it well enough. You can also do it on your own by grabbing one up high and one down low, and then same thing, you know you have your 3 points of contact. If you don't have somebody there to ensure that you're doing it right, you can always use the stick version yourself to hold it tall. But try to focus on the form when you're doing your exercises. Basic cues I always tell people is just outside the hips, draw back and down, and then try to keep that nice flat back and not round it forward. Feel like you're almost tightening up your shoulder blades a little bit. Hopefully this helped you all. Hopefully you got something out of this. Me and Matt will be very excited to see you guys soon. Enjoy.